Hey y'all! So lately I've been noticing kind of a pattern with some of the series that I've been reading, and it was really interesting, and I decided to do a discussion video talking about it because I want to see if anyone else has experienced this, and I want to try to figure out why I'm experiencing this. And what it boils down to is that sometimes I feel like a series is better than its individual books. And the best way for me to explain this is by using examples of series that I've already completed. On one side, I'll be talking about the Divergent trilogy and the Hunger Games trilogy, and on the other side, I'll be talking about the Pendragon series and the Across the Universe trilogy. So with the Divergent trilogy, I absolutely loved Divergent. I gave it full 10 out of 10, was obsessed with it. I was slightly less excited about Insurgent, and I ended up, in the end, giving it 7 out of 10 stars. And I was pretty disappointed with Allegiant and ended up giving it, I think, 6 stars out of 10. For the Hunger Games trilogy, I absolutely loved the Hunger Games, gave it 9.5 stars out of 10. I gave Catching Fire 8.5 stars out of 10, and I gave Mockingjay 7.5 stars out of 10. For the Pendragon series, I won't bore you with the details of all of the books' ratings. However, I will say that the highest rating one of the books got was 9.5 stars, the lowest that one got was 7.5 stars, and the majority of the books in the series fall at or above 8.5 stars out of 10. And for the Across the Universe trilogy, I gave Across the Universe 8.5 stars, I gave A Million Suns 9 stars, and I gave Shades of Earth 8.5 stars. So what are the differences between these two different sets of series? The difference is that I consider Across the Universe and Pendragon to be two of my all-time favorite series, but with these two, not so much. I mean, on a very basic level, when you look at the ratings for all of the books within those series, and you average them down for each series, it's somewhere around an 8.5 for each of them. However, I absolutely love two of them, and feel kind of ambivalent about the other two. I mean, the only book in any of those 4 series that got a full 10 out of 10 star rating from me is Divergent, the book in the series out of those 4 that I consider to be my least favorite. And for both of the series that I consider to be some of my all-time favorites, none of the books in those series are really big standout books. Like the Across the Universe trilogy, the highest rating one of those books got was a 9. And in the Pendragon series, which I have long considered to be my second favorite series of all time, none of the books got a full 10 out of 10 star rating, which is very different from the Harry Potter series, which is full 5 stars across the board. Now, the whole reason that I got started thinking about this was because of the Lunar Chronicles series. Currently, I have read Cinder, and I just finished Scarlet a couple hours ago. So I'm not done with the books that are out of the series, however, I have read 2 of them. And so far, I've given Cinder 9 stars out of 10, and I think Scarlet is going to end up being 8.5 stars out of 10, possibly 9, leaning more toward the 8.5, but yeah, you get the picture. And neither of those ratings are particularly outstanding. They're both good ratings, and it means that I did like the book, but they're not particularly amazing in any way. However, I would definitely say that this series is on its way to being one of my favorite series, for sure. And that's what started this whole thought process, because if I were to rate the series overall so far, I would probably end up giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I would give it a full, 10 out of 10 stars, probably 9.5 out of 10, but still, I would give it a higher rating than either of the books so far has received. And it's the same with Pendragon and Across the Universe. I would probably give Pendragon a full 10 out of 10 stars, and I would probably give Across the Universe 9.5 stars out of 10. And this brings me back to my main question, which is less about comparing series as it is about asking why I will give a series 5 out of 5 stars when I haven't given any of the individual books 5 out of 5 stars. And I've come up with a few ideas on the matter, and so I'm going to talk about them and hopefully start a discussion down in the comments, because I would love to hear y'all's opinion on this as well. So my first kind of reasoning and thought process behind this has to do with consistency. I've mentioned a lot in the past that I don't always enjoy trilogies because I feel like trilogies above anything else are really inconsistent. With the Hunger Games trilogy, it starts out really great and goes downhill. Same with the Divergent trilogy, and with the Shatter Me trilogy, it's the exact opposite. It doesn't start out so great, but it gets better as it goes along. And even if a trilogy does have one really outstanding book, I tend to have a lower overall opinion of the trilogy if it's less consistent. And admittedly, consistency is pretty difficult to find within series and trilogies these days. I mean, even some of my favorite series of all time, which are Cassandra Clare's books, even those have a few missteps within them. Not so much the Infernal Devices, but the Mortal Instruments did have a couple books that I thought were slight missteps for the series. However, I still did enjoy those books, and so my overall opinion of the series is not really tainted in any way. However, like I said, it's really hard to find a series that is really consistent. I mean, you don't come across a series as consistent as Harry Potter every dynasty. Please tell me someone got that reference. Anyway, I guess since consistency is so difficult to find, I tend to gravitate towards the series that are more consistent, like Pendragon and like Across the Universe. And so far, the Lunar Chronicles series as well. I've given Cinder and Scarlet pretty comparable ratings. I mean, at most, they're going to be 0.5 apart. So yeah, I guess to me consistency is hard to find, and so when I do find a series that is consistent, it makes me love it even more. And the second and final reasoning that I've been able to think of is a fairly personal one, and that is my obsession and love of world building and worlds within a series. Because often with series, even though world building is most heavily in the first book, it still happens throughout all of the books in a series, and the world is almost like a character within the series. So when I read a series with a really great world that has been built over all of the books in the series, the love of the world almost becomes more than my love of one of the individual books. For example, within the Pendragon series, there are several different worlds that our main character, Bobby Pendragon, traverses through in his attempts to save Hala. And there are some that I really love and some that I feel less excited about. However, when you combine it all together and you look at this amazing universe that DJ McHale has created in this series, it's hard to not be astounded by it. Because looking at one of these worlds individually is pretty cool, but when you look at the entirety of Hala and how complex and wonderfully created that entire universe is, there's a big difference. And Hala definitely deserves 5 out of 5 stars, even aside from the actual plot and the characters in the books. And that's kind of the same for the Across the Universe trilogy. The world is built upon throughout all 3 books in the trilogy, and so that makes the entirety of the world more amazing than the world as it's presented in each of the individual books. And I guess as an impromptu third point that I just thought of while talking about the world building of a series, I guess it's kind of the same for the overall plot. Because like with world building that occurs throughout several books in the series, there can also be overarching plots throughout several of the books in the series, and those are often more intricate and interesting than the single plots within each book. And I'm actually really glad that this just came to me as I was filming, because it actually offers me a little bit more insight into my opinions on The Hunger Games and on Divergent. Because as much as I love the plot of Divergent, the overall plot of the trilogy I kind of hate a lot. And while I do overall like the Hunger Games trilogy, I think that the plot of The Hunger Games itself is much more intriguing than the overarching plot of the trilogy. So yeah, I started this video with 2 thoughts for a discussion, and I ended up with a third one. So has this ever happened to you? Do you find yourself giving books 4 stars out of 5, but considering the series a 5 out of 5 star series? Let me know down in the comments. I am really intrigued by this. Obviously, I just made a video about it after thinking about this concept today at work. So obviously this really intrigues me. So yeah, let's get a discussion going. I'm interested to see what y'all think about this and if you've experienced this before too. As always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog, Twitter, and Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!